The Brazilian screw job was in full effect. UFC 301 recently wrapped up, and the main event was a robbery that left me extremely pissed and disappointed in the judging in that fight. I'm going to recap this entire UFC 301 fight card and then obviously work my way to the main event robbery, and then we'll go in depth about why I think it was a robbery. So make sure you guys do smash the likes, and if you're new, subscribe. Let's start it off with our early prelim opener. It was Alexandre Costa versus Kevin Borjas. Alexandre Costa won the fight dominantly. First round was pretty competitive, but dude, the leg kicks of Alexandre Costa, incredible. Destroyed Borjas's calf, and he ended up getting him out of there. What's crazy about Alexandre Costa, and even my thought process heading into the fight, is I did think Borjas would be the better kicker of the two, but damn was I wrong. Costa looked really good, and I'm telling you guys right now, he has the skill set to be a top 15 flyweight, and I think it's only a matter of time. I mean, two fights against two of the best in the weight class, Albazi, and then also against Erceg, and then with a win in the in-between against Jimmy Flick, and then now beating Borjas here. I think the ceiling is really high for Alexandre Costa, and we should all be pretty hyped for more out of him. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, Ismael Bonfim versus Vinc Pichel. Ismael Bonfim did really well outstriking Pichel, but I don't think he's got much punching power. I think the hype train has really taken a strong halt because Bonfim, though dominant in his striking, didn't land the kill punch. Like, Pichel's historically durable, but he is 41. Like, let's not act like this is primed version of Pichel. He's a tough SOB that went 3 hard rounds with Bonfim, so respect to that. I'm going to tell you this, though. Something interesting to note. Bonfim, right, winning this fight, maybe, just maybe, got Vinc Pichel the biggest opportunity of his life. You're like, what are you talking about, AJ? Pichel, Tony Ferguson, tell me you don't want to see it. Tell me you don't want to see it. I want to see it. Pichel, Tony Ferguson makes perfect sense. Let's give Pichel a chance. And let's give Tony Ferguson another guy that's at the tail end of his run. For Bonfim, I don't know. We'll see in the Every Fight I Need to See video what I give for him next. We'll talk about that here momentarily, like in the next day or so. I think Bonfim is a good striker and he's a solid mid-tier fighter, but any hopes of him emerging as an elite contender, let's please close that narrative. It's not going to happen. But good striking nonetheless and a win in Brazil. All right, the next fight on the card, we had Dione Barbosa versus Ernesto Kareckaite. This was the first robbery of the night. Dione Barbosa lost. Kareckaite deserved the win at the end of it. I mean, she did damage. She did a great job in the third round. I don't know, man. I think that we unfortunately got a Brazilian screw job here with Dione Barbosa getting it done. And before you say I'm biased, I picked Dione Barbosa all week. I predicted her to win a decision. She was the perfect prediction, okay? But the truth be told, this was a loss in all actuality. Ernesto Kareckaite should have gotten her hand raised at the end of this thing. And I think that she's a really exciting prospect. She looked awesome in the third round. They took the win from her, man. It was really unfortunate they took that win from her. It is what it is, though, because she's only 25, and I think this loss might actually be better for her because the UFC can give her worse opposition next time and work on letting her develop and fine-tune her skill sets because nonetheless, she's a baby in this game. 5-1-1 as a pro now. She comes from a swimming background, which, damn, she's got great cardio. It was on display. She did a great job with the cardio, man. She finished that fight so strong. I thought she should have got a hand raised. I thought she beat Dione Barbosa. She did a great job in the third round. Second round, I thought was Kareckaite's, but they gave it to Barbosa. Barbosa looked really good in the first round. Let's not take anything away. But she started to gas out a bit. Ernesto Kareckaite's got a good ceiling. She's got a higher ceiling than Dione Barbosa. So we should be excited about future fights for Kareckaite and the fact that now we can go the slow build route with her as opposed to her beating Barbosa and then taking a step up in competition. We can go a step down. We can give her an 0-1 girl. We can give her an easy fight for her to showcase entertaining style, Good grappling defense, dangerous striker, fighter that I'm excited to watch develop, and also a great frame to be elite. Very tall. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, Mauricio, Conor McGregor, Ruffy versus Jamie Mullarkey. This fight made me happy because I really believe that Ruffy has a very special style, and the striking, the way that he fights from the outside and he throws slick shots. You'd be lying to yourself if you don't see a little bit of the McGregor comparisons. Now, he's 30 years old, so a little bit later start to his UFC career, but damn good at 10-1, entertaining style, knockout power. Looks like the Brazilian McGregor. And he knocked out Jamie Mullarkey clean. It was a nice win for him. He beat Jamie Mullarkey up. I guess he didn't knock him out clean. Mullarkey was pretty much turtling up at the end, and then the ref jumped in to save him, but Mullarkey was gone by the end of it. The ref jumped in at the right point. He was getting constantly rocked. He was beaten and bloodied up. This was the right stoppage. Ruffy's high ceiling for sure. After the fight, he told Islam Makhachev, like, I'm coming for you, essentially. And he has a win over Makhachev's training partner, Magomed Aliyev. So for Ruffy, like, he's got some steps to climb, but if he can consistently perform in this UFC lightweight division, he's great for the weight class because his style is so fan-friendly. Like, I think everybody's going to be super hyped to see the next Ruffy fight. I know I am. I know he's got me as a fan now. I'm a Ruffy fan. I'm on the hype train. Let's go. Mauricio Ruffy's legit, and he whooped Jamie Mullarkey. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we had Drakkar Klose versus Joaquim Silva. We could skip this one, and I don't think too many of you guys would actually complain. Listen, it wasn't actually a horrible fight. It's just annoying how it finished because Joaquim Silva lost the first 2 rounds, but then finished the fight dropping Klose, beating him up, doing damage. Like, he did awesome. Unfortunately for him, a little bit too late in the fight. Drakkar Klose ended up edging a decision, which I'm telling you, Drakkar Klose is a decision winner. But, dude, in a real fight, though, like, Joaquim Silva won the actual fight if you're scoring it as a whole. But the round wins, yes, they go to Klose. You know, as the sport goes, we give it to Klose. But as the fan side of me goes, as the heart of a fighter goes, Joaquim Silva knows in a fight to the death, Drakkar Klose ain't even coming close to him. Now, after the fight, Klose was kind of giving Daniel Cormier a hard time. I'm like, Klose, you got to build your fan base, not lose it. Don't disrespect Unc. Don't disrespect Uncle DC. You should be ashamed of yourself. I don't care if you don't like what he says. Talk to him after. On the broadcast, you hype up Uncle. I didn't like it, man. I don't know. The Drakkar Klose fan club, I don't think exists. I don't know. Any Drakkar Klose fans, please let me know in the comments. But one thing Drakkar Klose is good at is winning decisions. So if you're picking Drakkar Klose, you pick him by decision. You're probably winning if you're betting that prop. Drakkar Klose got a W. Let's keep running. Good hooks by Joaquim Silva to drop him, and good shots at the end. I just want to keep moving, man. I don't want to talk about this fight. Next one, Mitabek Orolbai versus Elves Brener. Truth be told, Mitabek Orolbai found himself in some trouble in this fight. There was moments for Elves Brener, and I think Orolbai, he met a really serious test here in Elves Brener. Now, Orolbai dropped Brener with a big punch early in the first round against the cage, but he didn't realize that Brener was dropped. So Mitabek Orolbai needs to work on his in-fight realizations, okay? He needs to be a little bit more attention-paying, I guess, to his opponent, because he could have probably stopped Elves Brener if he would have just ripped him with big shots, but instead chose to grapple. Orolbai strikes, and he's a quality striker, but he always chooses to then just wrestle, man. He wrestle fucks. That's his style. Elves Brener had some good moments in the third round, and it was really worrying me. And then Mitabek Orolbai grabs the cage and gets a point deducted in the third round. In a fight, he's up 2 rounds, and Elves Brener starts winning the round. And at this point, because Mitabek Orolbai was my post-weigh-in lock, I was shitting my pants. I was having a meltdown as this fight was happening. Thankfully, Orolbai put it together and dropped Elves Brener with a jab at the very end of the third round to secure a 29-27 win across the board. And I could not have been happier, because if he would have lost that fight, I would have been in a rough spot. I would have been very upset. So thankfully, Mitebek Orolbai came through like a savage and put it on late. His striking's good. He throws that stupid front kick a bit too much and kind of sits in the pocket. He could get caught. I worry about him in higher level matchups. Him in the first round looks like a top 10. Him in the second round looks like a top 15. Him in the third round looks like a top 30. So Mitebek Orolbai's got to put it all together. He's still only 26. I still think he can be a top 10 guy. He's got a lot of potential for sure. And definitely has a look, man. The first man in general. I'm not talking about the first man. What do you mean first man? No, the first man in history, 10,000 BC. Mitebek Orolbai with his second UFC win against the game Elves Brener, who definitely's got no quit in him. Respect to Elves Brener's heart. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, the ladies went after it. It was Iasmin Lucindo versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Lucindo ripped her with really good punches. She dominated for most of the fight. She was on top of it in this fight too. She had a significant speed advantage, significant power advantage, significant advantage in fighting. Karolina Kowalkiewicz is 38. She's towards that twilight zone of her career, but was on a 4-fight win streak, so take nothing away from Lucindo in this fight. This was a quality Karolina Kowalkiewicz who Lucindo put it on and pulled off a lopsided 30-27 decision. And I'll tell you, 22 years old, I'm going to guarantee Lucindo breaks into the top 10, but she might be better than just top 10. She might break into the top 5. She might fight for a belt. I don't know about being a champ. I don't know. Maybe, though. At 22, Lucindo's got so much time to develop, and she's already got 21 fights. She's gnarly. Kind of has like Andrade-style hooks, but a little bit quicker, then also a little less powerful. Still, though, she did some damage to Kowalkiewicz with hooks on the feet, good punches over the top, good grappling. I like the performance, man. Lucindo looks solid. All right. Let's keep running. Next fight was our featured prelim of the night. Joanderson Brito destroyed Jack Shore's legs in this fight. Calf kick onslaught. Joanderson Brito shows you it's all mentality. He's going shin to shin with Jack Shore. Beat up the leg in the first round, was controlling against the cage a lot. Beat up the leg some more in the second round and destroyed the leg in the second round. He didn't just beat it up. He sliced the leg open viciously. It was actually kind of disgusting the way he sliced it open. Like, it was a brutal slash, leaking blood like crazy. Jack Shore's leg was completely compromised, and it was a doctor's stoppage because of a bullet-like hole in Jack Shore's shin after, 3 minutes, 35 seconds of the damn second round. They stopped it against the cage. It was a good stoppage. Like, I think Jack Shore's career could be damaged from that. He won't be throwing kicks for at least, 12 weeks or so. He might have to transition to boxing after this because Jack Shore got his shin destroyed, and I don't think it's going to come back, man. It don't come back. They say like Luke Rockhold had that issue. His shin never came back the same after that. So Joanderson Brito, the killer of the legs, man, ripped him up. I still have questions about Brito's skill set, though. I still think that Brito's a beatable guy, and I'm not super confident that he emerges as somebody in the top 10. But fun fights on the way there, and he's calling out Dan Ige. He really wants to fight Dan Ige. Unfortunately, Ige's looking ahead to Diego Lopez or something along those lines. Probably not Joanderson Brito. But I like the wishful thinking. I like where his head's at. I respect him for it nonetheless. Good performance by Brito. Let's jump to the main card. If you guys have not yet, make sure you smash the like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Paul Craig versus Caio Borralho. Caio Borralho destroyed Paul Craig and completely exposed Paul Craig for being what is the truth. Terrible striker. Paul Craig has the worst boxing I've ever seen in the UFC, and I think I'm including the women's divisions. He blocks punches like a guy who just does jiu-jitsu and has never fought before. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand. Who the fuck is his striking coach? Because he needs a new one. Paul Craig's boxing is the worst I've ever seen. Paul Craig's boxing makes Ben Askren look like he's got fast hands, okay? Paul Craig is blocking shots with his chin coming up. He's getting stung by Borralho. Vicious knockout by Borralho in the second round. Almost as good as the Austin Lane knockout loss against Deniz last weekend. I was laughing a bit at this one too. Granted, I like Paul Craig more than I do Austin Lane, so I didn't have the same joy and see him getting absolutely slept. But it was pretty sick to see Borralho drop hammers on Paul Craig and beat him up, man. Borralho is really marinating into a solid fighter at 85. Called out Jared Cannonier after. I think that type of call out, it just seems like a little bit of a stretch right now. I don't necessarily know if he's going to get that next. Cannonier is, the guy who has a win over Sean Strickland, and he's really in the upper echelon of the mix. And I think isn't he booked against Imavov? So Borralho might have to fight somebody else, but I do think some higher level opposition is what's next for Borralho, and I'm pretty excited to watch, man. Skill set's there. Karate-esque striking, has very good jiu-jitsu. The performance against Paul Craig was a breakout performance, but let's not overly hype a knockout win over Paul Craig. Paul Craig is a terrible striker. Paul Craig should fight Gerald Meerschaert. I think Meerschaert might knock him out. That's the fight that I want next. Paul Craig, Gerald Meerschaert. And a performance like this for Paul Craig makes me really wonder how the fuck did he beat Magomed Ankalaev and Jamal Hill and Nikita Krylov? I don't understand. MMA sometimes makes no sense. Granted, that was a younger Paul Craig, to be fair. This version of Paul Craig at 85, drained out, chin's gotten a little worse, less explosive, less athletic, and the striking looking worse than ever, man. He's only got kicks, and they're not that effective. Good win for Borralho. Next fight on the card, Michel Pereira put on one of the greatest performances that you can probably ever have in 54 seconds. He dropped Poteria. He then did a backflip on top of Poteria to get on him. It was insane. I don't know how he does this shit. He does a backflip to get on top of him to pass the guard as Poteria's on his back, and then Pereira will be stacking him. Instead, he goes for a backflip, jumps over him, kind of lands with the shin on his neck, which could have been deemed an illegal strike, and thankfully it wasn't. And then Poteria gets locked into a Michel Pereira death guillotine and then gets dropped on his head. Michel Pereira is one of the scariest middleweights in the world, and the fact that he was fighting at 170 doesn't make any sense. I think Michel Pereira is top 10 right now. I think Michel Pereira is a problem for everybody at middleweight. Michel Pereira is gnarly. Would you not be interested in seeing Michel Pereira against some of the better strikers in the weight class? How does Michel Pereira fight with the Sean Strickland? I want to find out. How does he look against Paulo Costa? I'd want to find out. How does he look against Jared Cannonier? I want to find out. Now, you might have to get through a Chris Curtis first, but if you're talking about being on the right track, Pereira's 3-fight win streak in the middleweight division right now, one of the most impressive step-ups in weight I've ever seen. He's reminding me a little bit of Rumble Johnson, the way he's running through people. I think Michel Pereira, you guys are going to say I'm crazy, but you think he can fight for the belt. I know you think I'm nuts. He might be fighting for the belt at some point. Michel Pereira looks God tier. He's only 30. He's a young guy. Middleweight division, you got plenty of time. He looked awesome here. And his destruction of Poteria was absolutely badass. And I just can't wait for more. Michel Pereira has got to be the most entertaining striker in the UFC. Maybe one of the most entertaining fighters ever, period. The style is awesome. The things that he does are crazy. And at 85, he's so much better than he was at 170. The fact that he wasted time at 170 is now looking crazy. Because at 85, he looks like a god. I want to see him fight somebody good, though, because Ihor Poteria is not very good. Featured bout of the night, which featured a major upset. Anthony Smith guillotine-choked Vitor Petrino. I haven't gone back and rewatched it, and I'll do myself the favor of doing so. But, there's, this small inkling in me. I'm is Vitor Petrino just the dumbest fighter in UFC history? Or is he throwing the fight by giving the guillotine to Anthony Smith? Because it almost looked like he put himself into the guillotine, shooting for the double leg, and then picking Anthony Smith up to help him tighten the position. I don't understand Vitor Petrino's mentality. I guess that's because he's 26 and he's very raw. I can joke around and say fight fixing. I don't think it's that. Please, I hope not. But plus 400, I don't know if there's some Brazilian cartel or gang members that got to Petrino and said, listen, you put yourself in that choke, we're all betting the house on Anthony Smith. I don't think that's true, though, because he was throwing heavy shots on the feet, and it was a 2-minute long fight. But Petrino's fight IQ is negative. It's like 55. Like, it's below 60. Pissed, because Anthony Smith was looking on the feet. He looks old on the feet. But Anthony Smith has high-level jiu-jitsu, and if you give him your neck, he's going to choke you out. The fact that Vitor Petrino shot for that takedown and just sat in the gi, like, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. Anthony Smith is good at submissions, and he's good at catching submissions when, you do reckless shit. And Petrino fought him with no respect, and I guess that's his issue. Young and dumb, 11-1. I gotta give him some bit of a break. He's a baby in the fight game. His striking power is legit, and I mean, if this fight was just striking, I really was pretty sure he'd get the knockout. Weirdly, Petrino was limping after, so maybe that's why he was so adamant about getting the fight to the floor, but shooting a double leg like that on Anthony Smith just doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't. The neck is there. I don't get it. Respect to Anthony Smith for winning. Anthony Smith called out probably every, MMA YouTuber out there because we all picked against him. So he called us out. I appreciate him calling us out, actually. So thank you, Anthony Smith. At the end of the day, Anthony Smith, Bogdan Gushkov. Easy peasy next fight. Book it. Set it up. Bogdan Gushkov, Anthony Smith has to be next. Yes, please. For Petrino, fuck, man. Too much of a jump up in competition. I'm going to have to really seriously think about who's next for him. Find out soon. I'll drop that video soon. Good win for Anthony Smith catching the neck of Petrino. Co-main event of the evening, Jose Aldo, Jonathan Martinez. Talk about a return to form. Jose Aldo looked like his prime self, but not his prime self at 135. He looked like how he used to look at 145. He looked awesome. Jose Aldo came back at 37 and somehow looked quicker. Somehow looked more muscular. Somehow looked faster. Somehow looked more precise. Somehow had better timing. He destroyed Jonathan Martinez. It was 3 rounds of dominance. He nearly got a knockout on multiple occasions in this fight and then chose to finish the fight from top position as opposed to hunt down that knockout. Jose Aldo's back. He's still in the mix. I don't know what his game plan is as far as transitioning back to boxing, but he said he's going to sit down with Dana White. He's going to talk to the UFC and see if they can come up with a deal. Jose Aldo not retiring, or rather coming out of retirement, is great. There's nothing like a Jose Aldo walkout. And if he can go out and perform like that against Jonathan Martinez, he's still top caliber. He still can fight some of the best guys in the world. He's still live in matchups against plenty of the elites. The original matchup was supposed to be Dominic Cruz. That fight's still there. Battle of Brazil versus Davis and Figueiredo. That fight's on the table. Battle of ex-champions. I love that fight. Corey Sandhagen fight is there for him. Only fight that maybe isn't there is a title shot or a Merab fight right now. But he's not far off. You get him another win. Merab loses to O'Malley. Like, Jose Aldo could be put into the title picture again. A Piotr Jan rematch could happen. A Song Yadong fight could be cool. There's so many options for Jose Aldo. I'm having fun just fantasizing about it. He looked awesome. Defended the kicks beautifully of Martinez. Was very hard to hit. Landed clean shots. Ripped to the body tremendously. Destroyed the legs. It was a prime Jose Aldo performance. But I'm talking about the 145 Aldo type performance. So bravo to Jose Aldo. Holy shit. The king of Rio dominates in Rio. I think he should only fight in Brazil at this point. Just give me Aldo in Brazil. That's all I want. He looked fucking awesome. And I cannot wait for Jose Aldo's next fight. I hope he re-signs. I hope he contract extends. And I hope that he keeps bringing some banger fights to us, man. Because I want to see more now. 40th pro fight. He still got it. Jose Aldo still got it. All right. It is time to talk the main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash the likes. And if you're new, subscribe. Alexandre Pantoja, Steve Erceg. Pantoja was gifted a robbery decision in Brazil. This is the truth of it all. I have my scorecard written down. I wrote it all down. The first round I gave to Alexandre Pantoja. He deserved to win the first round, for sure. Did good work, finished on top, controlled Erceg a bit. Like, even Erceg got up at the end. But a lot of control from Pantoja. Solid moments, some ground and pound. He looked really strong in the first round. Second round, I thought Erceg really stepped his game up and won. Landed some clean shots, was able to fend off most of the grappling attack, not in any substantial danger. Third round, I thought Erceg did enough to win as well. Solid moments. Again, you're fighting off grappling attacks. There was not a lot of damage from Pantoja. Erceg landed some big strikes. Was it in the third round? I believe it was in the third round that we saw the cut open up after the elbow. Don't quote me for sure. Actually, no, quote me. 99% sure. If it's not the third round, let me know what round it was. I haven't rewatched the fight, so I'm going off everything memory here, and I obviously writ everything down. But either way, Erceg 10-9 third round. Yeah, he won the round. Big moments for Erceg. Fourth round comes. Erceg 10-9. I thought he had more moments. He landed some clean shots. He has Pantoja backing up. He's fending off the wrestling for the most part, and he's doing well on the feet. So I got it 3-1 Erceg heading into the final round. And I scored the fifth round for Erceg because if damage is trumping all, him slicing the eye of Pantoja and causing a massive gash should win him the round as the most damaging strike, as opposed to Erceg landing the takedown, controlling a bit, but doing nothing with ground and pound. But that's not what the judges saw somehow. Somehow the judges scored this fight 48-47, 48-47, and 49-46, all of which in Brazil, let me tell you, in favor of the Brazilian champion, Alexandre Pantoja. This is the Brazilian screw job. This is a robbery. This was a horrible decision. The Brazilian judges were biased, absolutely biased in this fight. Alexandre Pantoja was busted up and beaten at the end of it and had clearly lost the rounds to Steve Erceg. Sure, he had finishing moments at the end of the fight from top position, but there was no damage done. So if the truth be told, in the scoring criteria, if damage trumps all, and then control time thereafter does not matter because damage trumps all, how the fuck could you score this fight for Pantoja? It's not possible. It's not possible, and that is the modern judging criteria. But instead, we score every fight differently with the official judges. What the fuck? This is a professional sport. It's not a game. We're not fighting in backyards. The scoring criteria needs to stay consistent, and it's not then. And it's a fucking problem. And it's a problem that needs to be addressed right now. Because this cost Steve Erceg a title-winning night. He won the fight. He won the fight. Steve Erceg won the fight, and you can't convince me otherwise. Alexandre Pantoja was hit with way more clean strikes from Steve Erceg. When you look at the bullshit strike stats and you see they're close on strike stats, right? A lot of those shots Pantoja are lugging out are hitting the forearms, the gloves, the shoulders. Not clean on the head, whereas Erceg landed legitimate damaging strikes, such as the elbows, which destroyed Pantoja's face. His skull was sliced open. Clean shots landed from Erceg. Big moments landed for Erceg, and he was robbed of a world title win. Now, is that not without some faults of Erceg too? Okay, to be fair, him choosing to engage in wrestling during this fight was just low IQ fight moves. And the fact that he was shooting takedowns in the fifth round, especially late in the fifth round, where Pantoja ended up scrambling and then getting on top of him, did potentially now cost him the fight. Yes. But I still feel as the damage he had done that round was enough to secure him the win. Right? Because let's not forget, that was the round, that fifth round, where the disgustingly clean elbow destroyed Pantoja's eye. Right above it. And I know Steve Erceg fumbled by shooting that takedown, but does he lose the round because of it when Pantoja didn't do anything and Erceg is escaping position at the very end of the fight? He wasn't mounted and getting pounded on at the end. He didn't look like Islam Makhachev with Volk beating on him from top. This was a bullshit robbery that's going to go down in history as one of the worst. We're in Brazil and we get a screw job. I'm pissed off about this. You guys should be too. There needs to be an investigation on the 49-46. What the fuck is that? 48-47, maybe if you're in the old scoring criteria, but not in this modern day scoring. And in how I score a fight, Steve Erceg's the winner of the fight. Most damaging moments, Steve Erceg. Control time with no near finishing moments, nor submission threats of any kind substantially by Pantoja, just being on top. So now you're winning because of that, but damage trumps all? Let's pick a side. Athletic commissions need to come together. There needs to be this one national body for it all at this point. And it needs to be set in stone. Damage trumps all. And every fucking judge needs to stick to that criteria. Are we scoring basketball? Oh, he shot from the free throw line, but I'm going to score that as 3 points this time. Oh, we shot a three-pointer, but no, this time I'm going to score it as 2 points. This is fucking delusional. This is the most high-stakes game on the planet, MMA. And the lack of a consistent criteria in scoring is a fucking disgrace. And they need to get this shit under control, and I'm fucking pissed. Steve Erceg is the new UFC flyweight champion. We can act like it's Pantoja, but it's just simply not. He was outworked, outgunned, and outdamaged in that fight. Steve Erceg won. However the judges at the end scored it, so what? The true champion of the world is Erceg. It's a bullshit robbery. It's a bullshit robbery. Steve Erceg, unfortunately, some fight IQ mistakes as well, right? So that kind of maybe put him in a worse position. Fair, I get that. But he still deserved the win at the end of it. And I hope that Steve Erceg gets another crack at the belt. The dude's incredible. The dude's a special talent, and he's only 28. Pantoja's got to be shitting his pants at a rematch because he's about to be, what? He's 34 in 2 weeks? Nah, he just turned 34 2 weeks ago, excuse me. So he's got some time until he's 35, but he took some damage here with Steve Erceg. I'm interested in seeing it on neutral ground again. Terrible decision. Steve Erceg and new UFC flyweight champion. Unfortunately, the blind judges, or maybe corrupted judges, gave it to the Brazilian at home. All right, well, I can bitch and moan for an hour, but I want to talk about my results. I was 10-3 with the picks. I went on a 10-fight win streak. So from our first fight, right, all the way up until Anthony Smith shits on me, I was unbeaten. I also had a pick flip from the weigh-ins. I knew Jack Shore was going to lose, so I went Brito. I almost fumbled that one. No, the post weigh-ins, that's why you watch the weigh-in recap show. I drop you the money take. So I was on a 10-fight win streak. Then Anthony Smith strangles Petrino, and I almost fall out of my chair. Jonathan Martinez, Aldo, to be honest, I was happy to lose this one. Give it to Aldo. I didn't bet on nothing. I said don't bet on this one. Unless you maybe you're going Aldo as a dog. I was happy Aldo won. Erceg and new champion, but they rob him and they give it to Pantoja. So I'm 10-3 on the night. I'm 10-3 on the night. And if all scoring was just, I would still be 10-3 in the night because I would have lost this fight with Barbosa and Kareckaite. So 10-3 would have been my record regardless. So I guess it's not too big of a deal as far as my, prediction rate goes. But I am pissed off that my guy Steve Erceg was robbed. I picked Steve Erceg to win. I thought he was pulling it off. It is what it is. The post weigh-in lock, because my lock of the week fight fell out, so we did the post weigh-in lock. Midtebek Orolbai with a win by decision. Perfect prediction there. Perfect prediction here. Perfect prediction here. Perfect prediction there. Perfect prediction there. Perfect prediction there. Not a perfect pick there. I picked Bonfim KO. Not a perfect pick there. I picked Costa decision. But damn, KO. I picked submission here. But inside this is still money. Overall, though, I can't be upset about the results. It was a great card. The action was nice. It's just unfortunate that my boy Steve Erceg isn't going to Australia as champion, which is something that he earned. That was UFC 301, and it had me quite irritated. It is what it is. Make sure you guys smash the likes. If you're new, subscribe, and let me know what you thought in the comments. Was it a robbery to you? Or did you somehow score the fight to Pantoja? You better not have. You better not have. You better not have. Much love, my people. I appreciate you all for tuning in, and you guys are amazing. 31,000 subscribers hit during the stream. That was absolutely epic, so I feel very blessed. Daily content dropping. We'll have more videos talking about UFC 301 this week, every fighter that got exposed, and then also I'll be doing fights that I need to see next. So keep your eyes locked into the channel. Much love, my people. Full card predictions as well dropping for the upcoming UFC Luis Nascimento card. So you want to keep it locked in right here at MMA Experts. Much love, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.